A stray cat named Tombi interrupted a math class and soon bonded tightly with the students. But when a looming challenge threatened to separate this bond, what the students did was unthinkable. In a small elementary school in Izmir, Turkey, a routine math class found itself transformed into something magical. One chilly Monday morning, as the third grade students settled into their desks, a scruffy orange cat casually strolled into the room, tail held high. The children exchanged surprised glances, and their teacher, Özlem Pinar Ivashku, couldn't help but raise an eyebrow at the unexpected visitor. She eyed the cat with a mix of surprise and amusement, but instead of shooing it away, she decided to let him roam free for a few minutes and wait for him to leave of his own choice, thinking it might add a touch of specialty to the otherwise mundane class routine. Little did she know, this decision would lead to an unforeseen bond between the class and their newfound furry friend. Tombi, as the cat came to be known, was one of the stray cats that roamed the school's garden. However, he was different. Unlike the others, he seemed to prefer the company of humans. During school breaks or at the end of the day, he would approach the students seeking attention. The children happily obliged, stroking his fur, playing with it, and even offering treats. But one day, Tombi decided to take their newly found relationship to the next level. In the middle of a math session, Tombi confidently strutted into the classroom again, momentarily disrupting the ongoing lesson. But this time, he didn't look like he wanted to leave. Instead of shooing Tombi away, Mrs. Pinar chose to let the cat be. By now, she knew all about the stray cat who liked to learn, and who was she to withhold knowledge? But she also had another reason to let him stay. The third grade students were known for getting carried away over trivial issues, often distracting the class with their playful antics. Borrowed pens, misplaced toys, and impromptu games would usually steal their attention. However, with Tombi's regular visits, the dynamics changed. The children found themselves more focused whenever the cat was present. They started to play less during lessons, ensuring they didn't accidentally step on or disturb their newfound furry friend. Mrs. Pinar observed the positive change in her class. Instead of the usual chaos, there was a newfound sense of order whenever Tombi graced them with his presence. The students were now engaged and attentive during lessons. Even the most mischievous of the bunch found themselves captivated by Tombi's antics, choosing to focus on the class rather than their usual shenanigans. The bond between Tombi and the class deepened with each passing day. The children eagerly anticipated his visits, and the cat in turn seemed to enjoy the lively atmosphere of the classroom. Tombi became a source of comfort and joy for the students, turning the once ordinary math class into a place of laughter and learning. However, the joyous atmosphere in Mrs. Pinar's third grade class took a sudden downturn when a concerned parent raised the alarm about potential allergies. Worried about the health implications for some of the children, the parent reported the presence of the cat to the school authorities. Despite Mrs. Pinar's efforts to explain the positive impact he had on the class, the school decided to relocate the cat to ensure the well-being of the students. With a heavy heart, Mrs. Pinar had to find another home for Tombi. The once lively classroom was now melancholy as the news of the cat's departure spread among the students. The children, who had grown attached to their feline friend, couldn't comprehend why something that brought them so much joy had to be taken away. As Mrs. Pinar sought out a new home for Tombi, she took him to a vet hospital for vaccinations. The atmosphere at the vet's office was tense, and Tombi, sensing the change, seemed uneasy. This routine visit became a stark reminder of the drastic shift in his life. A new home was eventually found for him, but the cat struggled to adapt. Refusing to eat and displaying signs of depression, his well-being took a toll in its unfamiliar surroundings. Meanwhile, the students, unaware of Tombi's struggles, were left grappling with the emotional turmoil of losing their feline friend. News of Tombi's unhappiness reached the students, and their once lively spirits were now clouded with sadness. Desperate to reconnect with their furry companion, the students wrote heartfelt letters and drew pictures, pouring out their feelings and memories onto paper. However, their attempts seemed futile, as Tombi remained distant and unresponsive, yearning for the familiar faces of the third grade class. Unfortunately, this also prompted his adoptive family to give him up. Mrs. Pinar couldn't bear to see her students in such distress, and she felt a deep responsibility towards Tombi as well. So she went to the shelter Tombi had been surrendered to and took the cat to her own home, hoping to provide the personal attention he needed. It was a challenging task, as he remained visibly depressed, longing to be back with the students who had become his family. In the quiet solitude of Mrs. Pinar's home, Tombi slowly began to eat again, finding solace in the familiar presence of the teacher who had shown him kindness. However, the depression persisted, and Tombi's eyes reflected the sadness of separation from his beloved friends in the third grade class. Realizing that the cat's heart belonged with the students, Mrs. Pinar knew she had to come up with a plan to reunite him with his rightful companions. She brainstormed ideas to convince the school authorities that Tombi's presence was essential for the well-being of the students. Mrs. Pinar understood that her responsibility extended beyond the classroom, and she was determined to make things right for both Tombi and her students. Faced with the challenge of convincing the school authorities to allow the cat back into the classroom, Mrs. Pinar decided to take a bold step. She shared Tombi's story on social media, hoping to garner support and showcase the positive impact he had on her students. Unexpectedly, the post went viral, spreading across various platforms and catching the attention of not only the school management, but also the head of the Municipality of Education. The heartfelt social media post reached the parents who had initially expressed concerns about allergies. Seeing Tombi's story and witnessing the genuine bond between the cat and the kids, they had a change of heart. The wave of public support, fueled by the power of social media, prompted the school to reconsider their decision. The provincial director of national education in Izmir launched an investigation into whether the cat posed a health risk to the students, and ultimately ordered that Tombi be reunited with his classmates. The news of Tombi's return spread like wildfire through the school, creating excitement and anticipation among the third grade students. Their furry friend was coming back, and the classroom would soon be filled with the joy and laughter that he brought. As the decision was finalized, Mrs. Pinar, accompanied by the students, took Tombi to the vet again for a full checkup and vaccinations. The kids, eager to keep their feline friend company, showed their commitment to his well-being. The visit to the vet ensured that he was healthy and ready to resume his role as the beloved class companion. With Tombi back in the classroom, the students embraced their responsibility to care for their furry friend. They learned to be gentle with animals, taking turns to ensure he felt loved and looked after. The once rowdy class was now transformed into a haven of responsibility and compassion, inspired by the presence of their extraordinary feline friend. Mrs. Pinar, deeply moved by the positive effect Tombi had on her students, found inspiration to start an educational book series. The series featured Tombi and his classmates in various adventures, emphasizing the value of friendship, responsibility, and compassion. The books resonated with students all over the country, creating a newfound eagerness to read and learn. The success of the Tombi and his classmates book series surpassed all expectations. Almost every child in the school was eager to read the stories, and the books became a staple in the curriculum. Mrs. Pinar's initiative not only enhanced the students' literacy skills, but also instilled important life lessons about empathy and understanding. And then this dedicated teacher decided to use the proceeds from the book series to make a positive impact beyond the classroom. The funds were donated to the local animal shelter to support the care and well-being of other animals in need. Tombi's extraordinary journey not only enriched the lives of the students, but also became a catalyst for positive change in the broader community. Mrs. Pinar's dedication to her students and the well-being of Tombi proved that sometimes a teacher's responsibility goes beyond textbooks and lessons. The bond between the stray cat and the third grade class attests to the power of compassion and understanding, teaching everyone involved that sometimes the most unexpected connections can create extraordinary moments in the ordinary. Have you ever witnessed the transformative power of animals in a learning environment? Share your stories about the lessons, joy, and unexpected wisdom our furry friends can bring into the classroom. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.